Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Pain, Heart and Home Healing After Loss. Today, I'm going to talk about a topic that, off the top, it might not seem to resonate with everybody right away, or you feel like it's nothing like what my first episodes have been like so far, which at this point is very true. However, I truly feel like, in some way, shape, or form, this topic can apply to everyone's life. So if you saw this title and you're like, I don't really care about the state of my home, or my home has nothing to do with my healing or my growth journey or my tragedy, like, please, I urge you to just listen. And I bet you will feel challenged in some way by the end of this episode, in a very good way, regarding the state of your home and how it can relate to your tragedy, healing journey, overcoming your pain, and so on. I feel very strongly about this, but not only that, there are many people out there who can testify to this. All right, a little backstory. Previous to my daughter Layla's death in late 2022, I helped run a cleaning company. I actually was in the cleaning industry for like over 12 years, something like that. I slowly started to fade out of that cleaning company once I got pregnant, because the plan was for me to become a stay-at-home mom from there on out. So after she died, I didn't have a job to return back to, so really I could do whatever I wanted with my time. So after a few months of recovering from birth and basically just kind of sitting around my house, not doing anything super productive other than just, grieving, which in those days, just making it through one day is productive enough. I quickly started throwing myself at all kinds of projects around my house. I did things like flipped old furniture. I deep cleaned my oven. I redid my kitchen pantry. I decluttered every bin, drawer, box in my house. The list goes on, and every day it was something different. My home and everything inside of my home, it became my new project, and I became hyper focused on it like it was my job at the time. And since I had all of that cleaning experience and experience in an industry that was all about making your home look and feel nice, I felt credible enough to start posting these projects on Instagram. And that's actually where my Instagram following originally came from. I started teaching people how to clean certain things and when to clean things in order to not feel overwhelmed in your home. I literally showed people how I was decluttering my own stuff and doing these fun projects to make my home a place that I really, really loved to be. And, my message for a while was, let's create and maintain a home that you love together. And I really did believe in that message because, and it's a part of my current message today, although it's not the whole thing that I, post about on social media. I still do share these, some things about home maintenance here and there because I truly believe it was a huge step in my healing process. So I poured myself into that wholeheartedly, and it quickly became the new focus of my life in a very exciting way. But once the excitement of all of that sort of wore off, I was not in a good place mentally or physically, for that matter. So I started grief counseling. And with the help of my counselor, who was the guest on my last episode, actually, you should definitely check that out if you haven't already listened to it. I realized that while there's no harm in me doing all these projects and kind of pouring myself into something in my external world, I realized that none of it was helping me actually heal internally. In fact, it was kind of just pushing off the inevitable, which was that my heart and my mind needed a lot of healing. And so what I was doing, I was literally trying to find anything that would distract me from doing the hard work of healing my heart and my mind. I didn't realize it at the time, but that's what my grief counselor kind of opened my eyes to. So for me, that was fixing up my home. That was making the place I love being the most, the best version that it could be. That's how I distracted myself. And now for some people, after they've experienced like profound loss or any kind of traumatic event, really, they move in the opposite direction. They fall completely under the responsibilities of their home because in their mind, it seems unimportant at the time. The clutter piles up, the chores go undone. The house gets taken over by, just stuff and trash and junk and whatnot. But eventually, that person will realize being completely overrun by your home, that's really no way to live. You can't live like that forever. And if you do, you'll probably end up on the TV show Hoarders. Or your family probably has to intervene in some way because it's obviously not a healthy lifestyle mentally or physically for that matter, especially if you have, young children or even pets in the house. It's not a healthy way to live. And so for me, because it was literally my job to clean people's houses prior to all of this, I spent many years learning about what I wanted my house to look like, but more importantly, what I didn't want it to look like. And I always took some sort of pride in my home. So for me, I never really felt like I would fall victim to that issue. Cleaning and tidying has always, even before my loss, has been super therapeutic to me. But not only that, a necessary part of life in order for me to really enjoy what's going on around me. Like, I'm the kind of person who I can't really rest until the dishes are done, if you know what I'm saying. So, but not everybody's like that. So quickly summing up what everything I just said. After you experience loss or any kind of huge traumatic life event, oftentimes your home, it becomes the place where you are either coping to get through the pain by doing things like decluttering, cleaning, organizing, DIY projects, purging, etc., things like that. Or it becomes the last thing on your priority list and quickly becomes the place that completely overwhelms you. But the good news is that no matter which camp you fall into, neither of those things will last forever. If you are a person who let your home overwhelm you, you will eventually have to get up and get those things under control. It's that saying that says, like, choose your hard. Getting up and reclaiming your home after it's been overrun by just stuff and junk and undone chores, like, that is hard. That is a hard decision to make. It's a hard thing to do, but so is living in it. Not being able to find anything, feeling embarrassed when, people walk into your home or when you have company over, constantly living on the edge of frustrations because, things are being misplaced or, they're undone or they're just super chaotic. Living like that is also very hard. Both of these things are hard. It's just one of these choices actually gets you one step closer to healing, one step further along in your growth journey as a human being. And it gets you one step closer to having a clear and peaceful mind, so that you can finally start focusing on becoming the best version of yourself. So if you are the person who turns to your home for your own coping mechanism, then hey, for you skip a step. So good for you. You don't have to make that hard choice to get up and get your external world under control because you're already doing it. But a word of caution, just so you know, this is only step number 1, okay? Although healing your home, as I like to call it, can be an important part of your journey, healing your home does not equal healing your heart or your mind. Okay, there's more work to be done. And getting your home under control can quickly turn into a simple distraction, not the ultimate fix to your broken heart. Okay, so we've established that there are 2 extremes when it comes to our homes. After we've suffered a loss or a traumatic life event, there's typically no guessing which kind of person you are. You'll probably know right away, especially after the descriptions I just gave. So let's talk about why this is relevant. Maintaining a home is a part of everyone's life. Like, you just can't escape it. It doesn't matter what kind of life you live, unless you are homeless, which if you are, I'm deeply, deeply sorry. You have, unless that's you, you have a home, or let's call it a space to maintain, okay? An apartment, a studio, whatever you call home, you have a place where meals get made, which means there are food particles that need to get cleaned up, and there's crumbs that if you don't sweep them or vacuum them, eventually they will pile up and attract bugs and mice. You wear clothes every day, hopefully. You shower and sleep in a bed, which means you will have laundry on a consistent basis. You have a bathroom where you literally go to rid yourself of all the nasty things in your body. Okay, that has to get cleaned up. Or else it will start to smell and it will grow mold and your health will suffer because of it. If you have kids, I shouldn't even have to say anything other than that, right? You have bedrooms and playrooms filled with toys and activities and games and electronics. And if they're not organized once in a while or tidied up consistently or gone through, You'll be walking on Lego pieces and tripping over the cords, and the frustration builds and builds and builds. Am I right, moms? If you have pets, even more so, like they more than likely shed some sort of hair on every freaking inch of everything in your home. And if you can't tell, that's what happens in my house. That's why I vacuum as often as I do. If shedding isn't your issue, then at least they go outside, they do their business, then they come back and they track mud and grass. And if that doesn't get cleaned up, you'll start to walk on that grass and the mud, which will ruin your clothes and start getting in your food, etc. Don't even get me started if you have a messy spouse. I won't go into what the condition of my home would be if it were up to my husband. So I'll just leave it at that. But my point is, whether you are a single person working a 9-to-5 job every day, or you're a stay-at-home mom and you have 18 children, 6 dogs, 2 goldfish, and a messy husband, your space in which you reside requires maintenance. Okay? And it's not only your space, but it's your life. Your schedule, your routines, everything that is done within your home requires maintenance of some sort. And none of these things go away after loss. None of these tasks just stop because life decided to knock the wind out of you. And if your home is not properly maintained or eventually gotten under some sort of control, it can and will become all-consuming to you. It will start to affect every area of your life, probably without you even realizing it at first. It will start to negatively impact all the areas of your life and ultimately become all-consuming, and that is what we do not want after loss. We don't need anything else feeling all-consuming because loss is all-consuming. Grief is all-consuming, especially at first. So we're trying to avoid anything else feeling all-consuming as well. So how does healing our home, which is just my romantic way of saying getting your house, your schedules, your routines, etc., in working order, getting things in working order, how does it actually help us heal our hearts better? This is my simplest answer. Clearing our space and healing our home relieves us from the burden of the never-ending to-dos and finally gives us the freedom to heal and work on our inner selves. Now, I'm going to say that one more time. I want you to write it down, create a note in your phone, tattoo it on your forehead. I don't care what you do. I want you to remember why this is important. Clearing your physical space and healing your home relieves us from the burden of never-ending to-dos and finally gives us the freedom to heal and work on our inner selves. Because in the end, isn't that what healing and growth is all about for us? It's about our inner selves. At the end of the day, like, nobody cares what your house actually looks like. Nobody cares if your kitchen's clean, if you're just a selfish jerk, right? People care about your mind and what you have to offer them as a human being, or, how you can help them with their life. You have a lot of really good God-given qualities deep within you, and the world needs these. Everybody has them. These are the things that we need to be seeking after. They need to be found and nurtured. But if you are constantly worrying about your chores at home and you're chasing around your crazy busy schedule that everybody likes to brag about nowadays and maintaining every facet of your life in complete chaos, how will you ever grow or have time to work on your inner self? Now, there might be someone out there who's thinking right now, I just really don't care if my home is clean. Like, the mess does not bother me at all, and that might be true. You may or may not have suffered a loss, but whether you did or you didn't, you might just be someone who the mess just doesn't bother you. And, like, it could pile up and you're unfazed. So let's address that really quickly. I have 2 things to say to that. Number 1, I get it. That is my husband. Okay? I literally live and am married to that kind of person. So I have firsthand experience with that lifestyle. So even though I am definitely not you, I understand you. The second thing is I don't think you actually realize how much of a butterfly effect the state of your home, schedules, routines, or lack thereof has on your mental state and even the state of your life. And here's a test to see how, if this is true. The next day that you don't have something to get to first thing in the morning, I want you to get up and I want you to deep clean something in your house. Okay. The bathroom or the kitchen are usually good places to start because they often are the dirtiest and the most satisfying to clean when finished. But it can be anything. Deep clean or declutter the heck out of something first thing in the morning. Deep clean that one space, and I guarantee you will feel motivated to keep going. You will step back and think to yourself, oh my goodness, that feels so good. Wait a minute. Wait, what? Huh? Messy person that isn't bothered by the mess? What did you just think to yourself when you were done cleaning that area? I bet you thought to yourself, that feels so good. Because it does. It not only feels good to have a cleaned up space, but it also feels good to do something hard or that you were putting off for forever. It feels good to accomplish something that's been lingering or hanging over our heads. And most of the time, that's housework. And most of the time, you don't even realize how busy your mind is with the running, lingering to-do list in the back of your head because it's like white noise in the background. And so, specifically in our homes, we get so used to seeing a space over and over again. We see it day in and day out. Our brains don't even really see the mess anymore. It just sees what it always sees. It seems normal to our brains. But that doesn't mean it's not still affecting your mental state. So we see these messy spaces and we think to ourselves, it really doesn't bother me all that much. And that might be true until you experience the other side of it. And another reason this is a good thing to try is because when you have a deep cleaned room or a freshly decluttered space, you tend to want to keep going because you want to continue to chase that feeling of, oh my gosh, this feels so good. And you want to know the easiest way to get that feeling is to clean something. The best way to get motivated into doing something you've been putting off for a long time or you don't want to do, I am convinced, just start cleaning your house. And that's because it leaves you with this universally known, amazing feeling when you're done. And it's a feeling that often makes you feel like you want to keep going. You want to keep chasing that I did something hard and I'm better off for it feeling. And that is what growth is, guys. Doing hard things and being better off for it. That's why this message is relevant for everyone. Because who doesn't want to be better off for themselves in the future, right? But let me just take one tiny little step backwards for a minute. Healing our home or getting our lives under control is not just about cleaning, okay? Let's get that straight really quick. There's many layers to having a healed home, and I'll briefly throw them out there. I've mentioned that healing your home is about healing our schedules, routines, etc. So let me give you some examples on how we can heal our home. Number one is huge, and that is decluttering. If you don't listen to anything else I say, if you can't focus on any other part of healing your home, fine. But if you focus on decluttering, which is getting rid of the excess crap that you don't use, you don't love, and you certainly don't need to live on a daily basis, I guarantee you, literally guarantee, every other part of your home life, your schedules, your routines, all of that will improve. I guarantee it. I am a walking testimony of it, and there's lots and lots of other people out there who can also testify to it as well. And as a matter of fact, I'm so passionate about it that I wrote an entire ebook about decluttering, why it's so important, how to get started, how to maintain, etc. And I will put that link into this episode's description so you can check that out. Another example is tidying, which is just simply learning how to just put physical items back where they belong after each use, or even after the day is over, even if you do it once a day. When you're done with the dish, it goes in the sink. When you're done with the clothes, they go in the hamper or back in the drawer. Teach your kids, when you are done with this toy, it goes back where it belongs. Okay? This will also make a huge difference in your life because it gives your eyes a lot fewer physical things to look at, which relaxes your mental load automatically without actually cleaning a thing. And tidying up your home becomes way the heck easier when you've decluttered half your stuff too. So there's that. Then there's actual cleaning, which is to get the spray bottle out and a rag or a sponge, and you are wiping things off. You're cleaning up the food after dinner. You're vacuuming up the dog hair. I don't think I need to explain why actually cleaning is important. If I do, you can shoot me an email and we'll talk one-on-one. Then there's a few different things like meal planning. This one is probably most relevant to those with children, toddlers and above, let's say. Having to think about feeding an entire family every day is literally a part-time job. It can be so time-consuming, mentally taxing, and a very frustrating process if you don't have a working system to figure it all out on a weekly basis, especially if you are trying to eat healthy, feed picky eaters, or shop on a budget. Okay, most of us can't afford a subscription service or to hire someone and come and do all of this for us, so the burden falls on our shoulders. And this can be super time consuming and sometimes super chaotic and frustrating to figure it out if you don't have systems in place. So this can be one way of healing the functions of your home. Daily systems and routines, for the inner workings of your home, having any kind of structure for the kids, especially, for chores, who does what things go where, when we spend time cleaning and versus when it's playtime. Again, especially with kids, I can't say this enough. We all know they thrive with structure. Yes, we let kids be kids, okay? But ultimately, at the end of the day, you're the one in charge of the state of your house. You're the one paying the bills and keeping everyone alive. So if mom and dad are going mentally insane because of the lack of structure, let's table the let kids be kids for the moment so you can feel like you can breathe again, okay? You're not a bad parent because you asked your children to clean up their messes when they're done or to be responsible with their things that they own. Those are actually really good life skills to teach your kids. But no matter who lives in your home, having certain routines and rhythms make a huge difference. And without them, it's much harder to focus on healing or any kind of inner work. The point is, all the things I just listed, plus many more, the only thing they have in common is that you have control over all of them. These are the things in life that we do have control over, and that is what healing our home is all about. It's not about having a perfectly clean home. Like we all know, it's not always going to be clean. It's not always going to be tidied up. Sometimes we don't feel like cooking a homemade meal, so we order pizza for dinner, or maybe the kids skip their chores for the day because you don't even have the mental capacity to make sure they get them done, or things don't get put back exactly where they belong that night. Okay, we're all humans. There's always room for error. So it's not about making your home perfect or perfectly running. It's about getting to the point where you have control over your home. It doesn't have control over you. Okay? That is where I think there is a huge misconception. My point is not, I have a clean and tidy home all the time, so my house is healed. Okay? That is not it at all. The point is actually, I have decluttered, cleaned up, tidied up, set my home straight to a point where I now feel like I have control over it. It does not have control over me. So now I can choose whether or not I feel like cleaning up at the end of every night because I know I have complete control over the state of my home. I can choose the state of my home simply by following the routines and the rhythms that I have set in place or by ignoring them. But it's my choice and I have control over it. Is this making sense? Okay, we also have complete power and control over what we fill our schedules with. It is important, very important, that we do not become a victim to our busy schedules. I hate with a passion the phrase, I'm too busy for that. When people say, I'm too busy to work out, or I'm too busy to clean up. Because you know what that's really saying? It's saying, I'm being forced into doing other things I don't want to do, so I can't do the things I do want to do. And I'm sorry, that's just not the case. What you should say is that's not a priority to me right now, because that's what you're actually saying. If you actually don't have the time to work out, really what you're doing is you're not prioritizing workout, and that's okay. You don't have to prioritize those things, but that's how it should be phrased, because nobody is forcing you into having a very busy schedule. You are choosing those things. You are prioritizing certain things over other things. And that's your right to do so. And you shouldn't care about what anybody else has to say about it. And if you really, really want to do something with your life, you will prioritize it and make time for it. We have the power over what we do with our time and what we put on the calendar and fill our schedules with. And if we fill it with too many things and don't have time for things like working on ourselves and maintaining our homes properly, but they're important to us, then it's because our priorities are out of whack. So if you don't like the fact that you can never work on yourself or grow in any way, or you have all these aspirations and things that you want to do, but you never get to them, and you hate the state of your home and you never have time to clean it, like it's time to start prioritizing them higher on your list. Remember what I said earlier, clearing our space and healing our home, including all of those things that we just talked about. It relieves us from that never-ending burden of to-dos. And it finally gives us the freedom to heal and the freedom to work on our inner selves. So if we really want to heal ourselves deep down, but we can't or can never find the time, it might be time to start focusing on clearing our physical worlds, like our spaces, our homes, our schedules, etc., to take this heavy burden off of our shoulders of haphazardly running our home and our family's lives, so that we can finally start working on becoming the best versions of ourselves. And this will start to have a crazy butterfly effect like you could never even think of. Am I resonating yet? I really hope so. Now, side journey with me for a quick second. We all know that there are many seasons of life, okay? In low and chaotic seasons, there is always grace. For example, let's say you're pregnant and sick all the time. When I was pregnant, I was sick all day, every day, for 14 weeks. Okay, there was not structure. There was no routine. No one was eating healthy. It was eat whatever's in the freezer but I knew it was temporary. So I gave myself grace. Okay. Another example, you just had surgery and you literally can't stand up on your own. Okay. Or, you're taking care of another loved one who is going through a hard time, or they're grieving, or they're physically incapable of caring for themselves, etc. Okay. These are the times when you have to look at the situation, give yourself lots of grace. And then when you're better or physically able, you can get back up and take over. Okay. And the good thing is once you've taken all the steps to get control of your home, like, getting rid of a bunch of the crap that you don't need and putting systems in place for chores and having strict rules for the kids and, rhythms for your home, etc. Getting control back after these harder times isn't nearly as tough anymore, because your home and life hasn't become this tidal wave of undone tasks anymore. Things should mostly stay in a rhythm or routine, but even if they don't, it doesn't take as much effort to get back to where it was, okay? Because you already did a lot of that hard work. And another thing I have to mention is specific to moms who have lost babies, okay? Or really just anyone who has suffered a profound loss or tragic loss of any kind. Of course, for me, it's personal because I lost a baby. If you are in the early stages of your grief, you are not here yet, okay? This is not for people. This episode is not for people who just found out that a month ago the baby had no heartbeat, okay? Or you literally just lost somebody unexpectedly. You are literally still gasping for air, and that is okay. You do not need to have control over your home right now. As a matter of fact, you need to give yourself as much space and as much grace as you possibly can, so that your body, your mind, and your heart can catch up to what is happening. All you should be doing right now is grieving, and grieve hard, because you'll never be back to these early moments again. Allow that grief to wash over you like an ocean wave, and be present in every single moment of it. If you are in the early stages of grief, you are not here yet, okay? This is for once you have caught your breath again. Once you can finally get back to some sort of normalcy and have healed from giving birth, if that's something that you had to go through. Okay, once you're ready to say, okay, I'm ready to get up and do something normal again. that is when you can be ready to start thinking about this kind of stuff. Okay. So if you're really early on in your grief, come back to this episode when you feel ready, and then you can start from there. Okay. Give yourself some grace. Your home is where a majority of your inner healing will happen. Okay. If you're on a healing or growth journey of any kind, it is your safe place, or at least it should be. It's your stage. And if you have not set your stage in a way that is setting you up for success, for healing, meaning you don't have control over the place you spend the majority of your time, your inner healing journey will probably take a lot longer than you want. And I will be blunt and I will put it like this. If you can't have 30 minutes to yourself to grieve the loss of a loved one, there is a problem with the way that your home is being run. Okay? If you have so much to do and so many things to accomplish, and the family has so much going on that you do not have time to set aside specific time to grieve, cry, read, grow, learn, push yourself, work on yourself in any way, do hard things, your home and your lifestyle control you, and that will forever stunt your inner growth. It is a crutch you don't even know you're leaning on currently. And you're so used to your home and your home life and your lifestyle dictating you, you don't even know what it feels like to dictate it. And you're so used to, falling victim to the tasks and the to-dos of motherhood, if you're a mom, or being a homemaker, or even just a wife or a homeowner. We need to start learning how to tell our home, our to-dos, our schedules, our lives, what to look like. And this all starts with how we prioritize our time. And this is no matter what your role is in life, okay? Whether you work a full-time job out of the house or you're a stay-at-home mom who's homeschooling their kids, okay? The point is of course, with grace and room for error always, we can have control over our homes, our schedules, and how things are maintained. And I know this is possible no matter what your life looks like, because I have had all the roles, okay? I have had no kids and worked full-time. I've had no kids and worked part-time. I've had 3 kids and worked out of the house full-time. I've also had 3 kids and worked part-time. I've done at-home schooling. I've had 3 kids and been unemployed. I was pregnant through 2 of those different situations that I just named, okay? Like, I've experienced almost every home situation that there is, pretty much. And through every season, I have always kept control over my home. That doesn't mean it always looked perfect and everything was running perfectly smoothly. It just means I had control and I wasn't a victim to the state of my home or my life. Okay. Even when I had 3 children move in overnight, a 6, 7, and 9-year-old move in with all of their stuff and all of their belongings. Of course, it was overwhelming at first, but I kept control over it and I did not become a victim of it. We have to stop being a victim of our homes, because our home is where we heal. So if you're struggling to heal internally, if you feel out of control, like you have nowhere to grasp onto for control in your life, you may feel like you're spiraling and you want to change so much about your life, but you don't know where to start, I suggest you take control over your home. Clear your space and clear your mind and give yourself the room you need for your heart to heal, for your mind to grow, and to start becoming the best version of yourself. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Be sure to watch for my future episodes. And of course, a positive review is always much appreciated. I can't wait to chat with you again very soon. Signing off for now, your hope dealer, Emmy Smaz.